Well, hello, finally. Hopefully a few of you are still here. I had some technical difficulties, and it turns out that you can't stream live on YouTube with Safari. You have to use Google Chrome. So I just learned that today. So thank you so much for your patience. And if you have others in your life and they wanted to join in, let them know that we are now live with Gratitude Yoga. So happy Thanksgiving in Canada. This is the Monday of our Thanksgiving weekend, and I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. We are going to do a lovely practice today. It's going to be all levels. It's going to be a little more on the gentle side. We are going to start seated if you want to get yourself set up right now. As you know, or as most of you know, I did a gratitude contest on Facebook all week. So we're going to be drawing the winner of that contest in a moment. And I want to thank everybody who participated in that contest. It doesn't take much to recognize things that we need to be grateful for, we can be grateful for in our lives. And sometimes we struggle to find things to be grateful for. And it can be as simple as having a pillow to lay our head on, or a cozy blanket to wrap ourselves up in, or a nice cozy cup of tea. So it doesn't have to be big and it doesn't have to be grand. So let's take a moment. I'm just going to get settled here on my mat to settle in and get ready for our practice. Now, as you can tell, I'm in our camp. It's a little bit chilly, so I'm going to keep socks and sweater on until I start to warm up. And you might hear the heater kick on, but that's okay. So let's just settle in, find our sitting bones, and draw shoulders down, create some space, and just find our breath. And as we breathe, I'm just going to cleanse the little vessel I have here with all the names in it for our draw winners, just by giving it a little vibration. And maybe that vibration connected with you, helped settle to calm. Vibration helps to calm ourselves. So I'm just going to draw our winner from our gratitude contest for the week, and then we will get started. So I'm just mixing them all up. I'm going to close my eyes, and let's go right to the bottom and pick Jackie Pettenuzzo, won herself 3 free Zoom classes with me, all levels classes. I have her email. I will be in contact with her. So congratulations, Jackie. And let's begin our practice. So let's just take a moment, and we're going to come to a mudra. Let's bring all the fingers together, but then pull apart everything except the pinky fingers and the thumbs. And this is our lotus flower mudra, or Padme mudra, and it signifies gratitude and unconditional love. So let's just bring it to our heart center and find our breath here. And feel free to close your eyes. Maybe start to notice a sensation of gratitude in our hearts. And as we just breathe here and settle in, I'm going to read you a poem to get us started. Be thankful. Be thankful that you don't already have everything you desire. If you did, what would there be to look forward to? Be thankful when you don't know something, for it gives you the opportunity to learn. Be thankful for the difficult times. During those times, grow. Be thankful for your limitations, because they give you opportunities for improvement. Be thankful for each new challenge, because it would build your strength and character. Be thankful for your mistakes. They will teach you valuable lessons. Be thankful when you're tired and weary, because it means you've made a difference. It's easy to be thankful for the good things. A life of rich fulfillment comes to those who are also thankful for the setbacks. Gratitude can turn a negative into a positive. Find a way to be thankful for your troubles, and they will become your blessings. The author is unknown. So as we continue to breathe, and you can maybe let that filter through you, you can let it wrap around you like a blanket, or you can just let it pass you by if it doesn't resonate with you today. But we're going to start to add movement from the hips. The hands just on our thighs or on our knees. And starting to notice how our body moves in space. So starting to move our spine. Maybe we get the shoulders into it a little bit. Soften the muscles in the face as we breathe here. And of course, you can always close the eyes or keep them open, whatever feels comfortable to you. And then whenever it feels natural, just change direction and just noticing how that feels. So maybe it feels different going the other way. Maybe it's a little bit of a wind and unwind. Maybe the shoulders move differently or the hips move differently. And just take a moment to feel gratitude for how our body allows us to move. Let's finish out one more here. Come back to center. Pause, draw shoulders down, maybe even a couple shoulder rolls here. Let's inhale, grow tall, and exhale. We're just going to turn to look over one shoulder. Doesn't matter which. Take a breath there. And then with our next inhale, come back to center. Exhale, change sides. Take a breath here. And start to flow this. Inhale to center. Exhale, turn. Inhale to center. Exhale, turn. Thanking our neck for all that it does. Sometimes it holds our stress, that whole pain in the neck thing, right? And it holds up our head. Our head is heavy. It's 10 to 12 pounds. Our poor little neck has to hold all that weight up. That's why if we keep our head tilted forward when we're sitting at a desk or looking at gadgets, we start to get that tension in our neck. Let's come back to center. And this time, tip the ear to the shoulder. Come back to center and exhale, switch. So lengthening the side of the neck. Noticing if one side feels different than the other. We have a tendency to carry different things on each side. If you have a dominant hand, we typically have a side that's a little more tight, we'll say, than the other. So just being aware. Let's do one more to each side. And then just make our way back to neutral, to center. Let's take an inhale here and an exhale, release the shoulders. Nice big inhale here, sweep the arms up. Exhale, let's turn to one side. Just bring your hands to the outside of the thigh. So gently twisting here, especially if we've already eaten a lot this weekend. And savor the twist, savor movement. So we use the breath to gently help us into it. Never forcing, never going deep into a pose right from the start. We listen to and honor our body. It takes time for our body to figure out what we're doing, our body and our brain. So we want to take those breaths and savor, relish, moving into each pose. Inhale, let's come back to center, sweep up. Exhale, change sides. So again, just starting small and using the exhale maybe to find a little bit more movement into space or creating a little more space. And just letting the breath help you savor moving into each movement we do today. Next, inhale, let's reach up, come back to center. Interlace the fingers, drop them down in front, tuck in the chin. Let's round the back, a nice seated cat stretch, separating those shoulder blades. Oh, yeah. And then let's lift up the chin, release the fingers, open up, thumbs up, create some space in the front body here. Take a nice big inhale, fill that space you've created. Exhale, bring the hands together again around the back. And let's flow this a little bit. Inhale to open up. Exhale to round, opening the back side. And maybe you start to move the hips a little bit more into this. So you get a little bit of a pelvic tilt happening, creating maybe a little more space. And maybe we don't. Maybe we just stay tall and grounded. Just finding that flow, creating space. When we open up, maybe thinking of all the things we want to hug, things we're thankful for. It can be anything from a person to our favorite blanket. I have a tree that I meditate at, and of course my husband will laugh when he tells you that I do hug that tree. Let's finish out one more. And then lift the arms back up. Let's bring them behind our head, opening up. If this is uncomfortable for your shoulders, hands just to the low back or even to the hips. Good, let's release the arms. Palms come behind each other like we're holding a big beach ball, or we can interlace the hands if that's accessible to us, drawing shoulders down. Good, and let's release. Shake out if you need to shake out, some shoulder rolls if you need to do that. We are gonna come onto all fours. So however you can get there, I'm just gonna move my blanket out of the way. So wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. I'm just gonna take my sweater off so it's out of the way. And if that's uncomfortable having the shoulders directly over top of the wrists, then just bring them back a little bit. Feet can be flat, toes can be curled. Eventually my socks will come off. Let's start to move through the spine. So inhale, we open up into cow. Exhale, we find that nice cat pose. And start to notice where we're connected to the earth. So notice where our hands or our fists are grounding us here. Notice what part of our leg is grounding us here. So maybe the feet are flat or the toes are curled, our shins, our knees. And that's where we build our stability, from where we touch the earth and then move up. As we move here, we check in with a belly brace, so that sensation of doing up a zipper. So we're not pushing the belly down as we move through cow. We're actually holding the belly gently. We're lifting it just a little bit and using the spine to move. Let's finish out this last one. And then pause in the center in that tabletop position. Finding length right from the crown of the head to the tailbone. We're going to come to spinal balance. So left arm, right leg extends. You can flex the foot or point the toe, whatever feels good to you. If we take a look back, that leg really shouldn't be any higher than our hip, because then we start to arch the back and the hip starts to turn a little bit. Breathe. Brace here. So notice your supporting hand. Good. With your next inhale, lower down. Exhale to change sides. Pause. Take a few breaths there. So again, you can point or flex that back foot to find length from fingertips right through the bottom of that foot. We're bracing. And let's start to flow this. Inhale down. Exhale to lengthen. Inhale to come down. Exhale to lengthen. And just flowing and breathing. And if you don't like inhaling to come down and exhaling to lengthen, switch. Whatever feels natural to you. You do you, my friends. Just a few more here. Starting to warm up the core. Getting a little bit of warmth happening through our limbs. Let's finish out one more to each side. Evenness in our movement as much as we can. And we're going to make our way to resting pose or puppy dog pose. So puppy dog pose, we stay up a little bit. We come onto the forearms. It's a little easier and gentler on the knees and on the hips. Resting pose, we come all the way back. Arms can be extended or we can tuck them in. We can rest our forehead. We can rock a little bit here. Let's take a couple breaths and notice the back expand as we breathe. So I've told you guys before that most of our lung capacity, or the greater portion, is in our back body. So as we inhale here, we can really feel that expansion. And then that contraction, maybe we sink a little bit more towards the heels. Let's take one more big breath. Make it a nice slow exhale. Thank your body for all that it does. You don't even think about breathing most of the time, right? And then let's send our arms out if they're not already there. Reaching, pick up the head, shift forward. Let's come to kneeling plank and pause there. So we lower the hips just to that point where it feels like we're going to arch, but we don't. We draw the belly in, we push against the floor, soften the elbows, and the neck is nice and long here. Breathe. So we have some active core engagement. We want to make sure we're not rocking onto the wrists, so press your fingertips down into the floor a little bit. And then keeping our joints safe, we're going to tuck those elbows in. We're going to lower all the way down. Start with a gentle back bend. Slide forearms down, elbows just slightly outside shoulders. Find some length and lift to our Sphinx. Let's breathe here. So opening up heart center. Neck is neutral, but long. And then inhale to release. Exhale to resting or puppy dog pose. Let's take a couple more breaths there. Again, you can rock side to side. You can bring the arms around side you. You can stack them to rest your head upon. One more breath here. Slow exhale. And then let's make our way up to down dog. So we lift up the head, we curl the toes, we lift those hips. Oh, let's take some nice breaths here. So let's spread those fingers, press palms, fingertips down, push against the floor. So the hips shift back and we get a nice lengthening in our back. So down dog is a great stretch for the entire back body. Head's just between the arms. Knees are slightly bent. See if we can get a little more length in the back and then start to lengthen the legs again. So think about bringing your ribs towards your thighs to get that lengthening. And while we're here, maybe we start to add movement. Maybe we walk our dog a little bit. Maybe we just pick up a leg, shake it out, get some movement from the hip. Whatever feels good to you here. Maybe we roll up on the toes a little bit, stretch them out. So listen to your body. Take 2 more big breaths here. If we added movement, let's come back to stillness, and we're going to take a look to our hands. Soften those knees. Let's walk up to our hands, finding our first forward fold. So if our hamstrings are still cranky, we want to rest our hands on our legs and bend our knees more. We can release head and neck here if we're ready. Take a couple breaths. And then soften the knees and gently roll or walk your way all the way up to standing, to our mountain pose. Take a breath here. Good, check in. Let's close our eyes and maybe start to rock a little bit on our feet. And just notice how our feet feel, grounded. Toes spread. I have a drippy nose I'm just fixing right now, which is why I told you to close your eyes. Good, so let's spread the toes, place them down, and really notice how we feel grounded when we do that. Inhale, let's bring arms up, palms come together. Let's bring them to our heart as we slide the hips back, find our chair. Drawing shoulders down, checking in with that belly brace. Breathe here. And let's get a little bit of a flow going. So let's release the arms, open up, sweep up, bring palms together as we slide those hips down. So getting a little more warmth building. And just as we're moving here, I did post on Facebook yesterday my own workout, which was power yoga. It's about 40 minutes long. I will be posting it on my YouTube channel later this week. So you can watch for that. If you subscribe, you should get a message from YouTube telling you when it's been posted. Just flowing and breathing. Noticing your body moving through space. Taking a moment to thank it for allowing you to do this. We take for granted sometimes the movement that we do have within our ability. Let's finish out this last one. Make our way to chair. Pause here. Breathe. Exhale, let's fold. Soften knees, fingertips come down. Let's take the right leg back. Release knee on top of the foot. So finding our first low lunge here. Making sure that front knee is over top of or slightly behind the heel. Bracing the belly, and let's let that hip release a little bit. So it's a nice stretch in that hip flexor where we tend to hold emotions. So when we stretch that out, maybe we find a little release. We can let go a little bit. Let's lift up the chin, look forward, lengthening the throat a bit. Let's take a nice big inhale and exhale. Brace, lift all the way up. Hands can also come to the thighs. If we like, we can interlace our fingers, find Kali Mudra with the index fingers extended, and open up a little bit more, creating some space in the front body. Breathe. Good. With our next inhale, come all the way back down to the floor, curl back toes, exhale to down dog. Pause there just for a breath. Strong hands as we shift forward to our plank. Now you can stay on the toes or come to the knees like last time. Pausing here, checking in with that belly brace, elbows soft, and then keeping the elbows in close to protect our joints. We lower all the way down. Find length, you can go to that Sphinx or a low cobra. So just warming up the back here, drawing shoulders down. Chin is neutral. Inhale, let's release. Exhale to down dog. Let's take our gaze forward, pick up our right leg, sweep it through, help it if you need to get to lunge on the other side. And again, keeping this knee joint safe over top of or slightly behind the ankle. Brace, start to draw the hip down, and then create space in the chest. So we lift up just a little bit, looking forward. Bracing the belly even more, so protecting the back as we find movement and lifting. If we like, hands can also rest on our thighs. Interlace fingers if we like, Kali Mudra, and open up. Breathe right into that space you've created. Good. Inhale, let's find the floor, curl toes. Exhale, step forward to our fold. Soften knees. Brace. Let's come up to a flat back here. So nice and long from crown of the head to the tailbone. Hands can come off the legs. We can bring arms alongside us with the palms down. This is a version of airplane. And we just want to make sure we have a bend in the knees, that we're not hyperextending them. From here, all we're going to do is bend the knees a bit, send the hips back, bring palms to heart to find our chair. Check in with that belly brace. Check in with your feet. Make sure you're grounded when you're ready. Let's find that flow again. Just a few times here. Hips down and back. Let's finish out this last one. Make our way back to our chair. Pause. Use your next exhale to fold. Soften knees. Fingertips come down. Right leg steps back. Keeping the knee off the floor if we can, and really sending the leg back. So you'll notice I'm scooching my foot back. Press through the heel, so it's a long, low lunge. So same thing, we want to brace and then push through that hip. So you're going to feel a real lengthening in that hip flexor. And just looking forward, breathe. Almost like a runner about to take off. Good. From here, we're going to step back to our plank. So we can stay on the toes or come to the knees. Pause for a breath, maybe two. Bracing. Elbows tuck in. Let's lower. Find length maybe a little bit higher in our cobra this time. Opening up. Elbows soft. Good. We can inhale to release down or inhale, brace, exhale to down dog. Take our gaze forward, pick up the right leg, sweep it through a nice long lunge. So releasing that hip, belly is strong. So think of lifting it as we're in this position, opening up the chest. So we lift up the chin a bit, gazing forward. It's like we have eye contact with something ahead of us. Brace, big inhale, exhale, step forward. Let's come up to that flat back. Option to find that version of airplane. So we really lengthen the spine here. Knees are soft. And then we bend the knees even more, send the hips back, find chair, palms at heart. Maybe we get a little bit lower than we have been here. And find that flow, just a few. So we maintain warmth. Maybe we get a little deeper in our chair. Last one, pausing in our chair, breathing here. Good, exhale to fold. Soften knees, fingertips come down, right leg steps back. We're coming up to a high lunge. So you might not want to go as far back. This time, brace and pull yourself up. Hips are square, back heel is lifted. Hands can be at hips so we can make sure they stay square. They can be at heart or we can reach up. Sink a bit if you can. So we're really actively engaging those legs. Press down on the feet, especially the front foot. Spread those toes. Belly's braced. Get tall, shoulders down. So much to think about, right? And then that back leg, we're going to start to lengthen it as we tip forward. So we're going to start to press through the heel, sweep the arms alongside us, and lengthen right through the crown of the head. So we have to brace a little more here. We're tipping a little more forward from the hip. Protect our back. We can interlace the hands behind our back if we like here. Maybe lift them a bit. Breathe. Brace. With our next inhale, we release the arms, bend the knees, exhale back up to our lunge. Good. Let's inhale, find the floor. Exhale to plank. Knees or toes. Pause. Check in. Plank, we should feel strong like a piece of wood. Hence the name plank. Tuck in. Let's lower down. Option to come to chaturanga and up through upward facing dog at this point on the tops of the feet. Elbows still soft. Inhale, you can release. Exhale to down dog. So yogi's choice on that release or not. Let's take our gaze forward, right leg up and through, finding our high lunge on this side. So again, maybe a little shorter stance than that long, low lunge we did. Set it up, hips are square, back heel lifted. Bend those knees. Breathe. Check in with that brace. Check in with the length all the way up the spine, right through the crown of the head. If arms are up, through fingertips. Check in with the feet. And then we start to lengthen that back leg, press through the heel, and we tip, sweep the arms alongside us. Did you guys just see the squirrel that went by in the window? Probably not. But if you watch it again, you can check for Mr. Squirrel. We can interlace the hands behind our back and lift, if that's accessible to us. Breathe. Strong feet. Good. Inhale, start to release, start to bend the knee. Exhale, all the way up. Find that lunge. Good. Bring palms to heart. All we're going to do is step forward into our chair. Pause here. And let's find that flow just a few times. Creating space as we inhale. Always trying to create just a little more space. By the end of class, we should feel taller. Good, let's finish out one more. Make our way to chair. Pause. Exhale to fold. Let's stay here for a moment. Let's start to bend the left leg, bring the left fingertips down, and then open up as we exhale to the right. So finding a nice twist here. And if you don't like having the arm up, it can come to the low back or even the hip. So we're getting a little bit of a stretch, maybe in the glute a little bit more here, down the side of the leg. Everyone's different where we feel it. Looking up, we'll challenge our balance a bit. And then inhale back to center, straighten both legs, pause. And then we bend the right knee, exhale, open up to the left. So seeing how much space we can create in the chest, through the shoulder joint. Again, if it's uncomfortable having the arm up, we keep it down low. We listen to our body. Good, let's come back to center. Re-straighten the legs, always having a little bit of a bend. Soften knees, fingertips come down, right leg's gonna step back. We're gonna drop that heel and find our warrior one. Brace, as always. Make any adjustments you need to. I like to get a little bit wider so I can start to work those legs a little bit. We just wanna make sure the knee is never pushing past the toe line and that the joint is stacked. So if I see my big toe, that gives me a pretty good idea. Belly's braced, arms don't have to be up, they can be down. Okay, let's take a nice big inhale, create a little more space. Exhale to warrior two. Let's straighten that front leg. Again, making sure the knee's not locked. Slight micro bend. Shift forward. Let's tip into our triangle. So hand can rest on the leg. It can reach past the leg. If you have a block or books or something, you can rest upon it as well. Top arm can reach up or it can come to the low back. Let's work on opening up our shoulder. So if you normally put the arm up and you feel like you can't open up in the chest, try putting your arm to the low back, squeezing your ribs to see if you can create more space. And again, looking up is up to you. It can challenge our balance. Closing your eyes is a game changer. One more breath. Strong feet, strong legs here. And then brace, start to bend the knee, draw yourself back up to warrior two. Good, shift forward, pause. Just for a moment, noticing where we feel this. So maybe some obliques kicking in here. And then forearm to thigh or floor or block, we find our side angle pose. An arm can be up, again, it can be down or it can reach past the ear to get even more stretch, lengthening. Feel those ribs. Breathe. Brace, press down on the feet. Let's pull ourselves up to warrior two. Good. Let's turn the shoulders, find warrior one. Press down that back leg, really grounding ourselves. And exhale, we're gonna twist towards that bent knee. So we're twisting to the left. So we can turn and bring the hands and kind of wrap them around us. We can just have them at heart center and make it a gentle turn. So yogi's choice here, sink a bit more if you can. So you're gonna feel like you're wringing yourself out a bit. I promised a lot of twists because of all the turkey we're eating. Good, one more breath. And then release, exhale back up to center. And then with our next inhale, let's find the floor and find down, or plank, sorry, plank. Nice and strong in our plank. Breathe. Now, if we like, whether we're on knees or toes, we can pick up one foot. Ooh, we gotta brace a little harder. Replace that foot, switch, keeping those hips square. Replace that foot, tuck the elbows. Let's lower, finding our heart opener, whatever that is today. And then using our exhale to make our way to down dog. Let's take our gaze forward, right leg up and through, drop that heel, warrior one on the other side. Now I'm just gonna turn. It's easier for me to see what's going on. So setting ourselves up might be different on each side, and that's okay. We just want to make sure we're safe, stable, and grounded on each side. Breathe. Try to sink a bit if you can. Use those big muscles. They're the calorie burners, by the way. Good, let's exhale to warrior two. Breathe. Straighten the leg. Let's shift forward. Find your triangle on this side. So again, hand above or below the knee. We can reach past the leg. We can find a block. Top arm can be up, but we really want to squeeze those ribs. This is a twist. And open up if we can. So sometimes bringing the hand to the low back or the hip can really help with that opening. And allow your breath to flow. Maybe we look up. Grounding down the feet. Legs are strong, joints are soft. Yoga is this beautiful balance between strength and stretch, between hard and soft, if you will. Good. Brace a little bit more. Press down those feet. Exhale. Make your way up to warrior two. Start to soften that knee. Good. Shift forward and just pause. So notice here, maybe the obliques are starting to kick in. And then we find our side angle. So arm can rest on the thigh here, or we can reach beyond the thigh. So yogi's choice, you can always bring in a block or even books. You can reach past the ear, really press down on the picky edge of the foot, ground yourself, and breathe through this. Maybe looking to the side or looking up. Brace a little harder, press down those feet, exhale, draw back up. Warrior two. Good, sink a bit if you can. Let's turn those shoulders, find warrior one. Really creating that space. Jaws soft. Let's find the floor, find our plank again. So knees or toes, we brace. And again, if we like, we can pick up one foot, keeping the hips square to brace a little bit harder. Switch. And again, we can do this on the knee. Let's lower the leg, tuck those elbows, lower, find length, open up. Use your next exhale to find down dog. Let's pause here. Let's breathe. Maybe walk our dog. Maybe you need a quick resting pose, and that's okay. Take a few breaths, heads just between the arms. Good job. So if we're not in down dog already, let's make our way there. Really ground down the hands. Spread your fingers. And we're going to pick up our left leg. Now, maybe you just have it lifted a little bit. Maybe you start to take it a bit higher. Maybe you start to turn and open and look underneath your armpit. So listen to your body. And then if we like, we can bend the knee and turn and open that hip as if we're placing the foot on a wall behind us. And then start to press down in the other heel. Breathe here. Good. Let's bring that leg back to center. Let it come down to rest. Shift forward to plank. Tuck the elbows. Lower. Find your back bend. Maybe you want to take pressure off the wrists here. So you'll notice I've got a little tiny leg lift going on here. Inhale to release. Exhale to push. So we're going to do that on the other side. So the right leg lifts. And maybe it's just a little bit. Maybe we lift up, turn that hip a bit, look under the armpit. And maybe we start to bend the knee to open up the hip a bit more. And we start to press down in our supporting heel again. Breathe. Notice where you've created space. Good. Come back to center. Lower the leg. Come to the knees. Find puppy dog or resting pose. Feel free to circle out wrists. You can do a little counter stretch if you need to, or you can just gently lengthen. It kind of reduces impingement on the carpal tunnel by doing that. It's just a gentle lengthening of the wrists. And then when you're ready, making your way back up to down dog. Let's take our gaze forward, walk our feet up towards our hands, and find our forward fold. Come up to that flat back. Maybe the hands by our sides, so that version of airplane. Knees are soft. So as much as we're pushing the hips back a bit, we want to keep the knees a little bit soft. But then we're going to bend the knees a lot. Brace, find our chair. And then exhale, just press up to standing. Pause here. Just check in with where you're at. Maybe rock a little bit, spread the toes, ground yourself. We're going to do a little bit of balance before we come down to the floor. So keeping your hands at heart, you can bring them to your hips. You can also open up for a little more stability. We're going to come to tree pose today. So shifting your weight to one foot, doesn't matter which. I like to take a moment to spread my toes and really flatten out my foot so it's rooted. We're going to turn the other toes out to the side, so it's about a 90-degree angle. We're going to pick up that heel, slide it in, and just place it above the ankle bone. And then maybe we stay right there. Maybe we need that grounding today, so we honor that. Otherwise, we slide the foot up so it's below the knee, never pressing on the joint, or we can pick that foot up and come above the knee. Now, sometimes that depends on the pants you're wearing, or if you have lotion on your feet. We can send our branches up if we're ready. Breathe, draw shoulders down. Check in with your brace. Find a spot to stare at. It's going to help with your balance, helps you to focus. Your tree might be experiencing some wind, might even come down a little bit. You can just begin again or come to mountain pose. Wherever we are, let's take one more breath here. Get as tall as we can. Exhale slow. And then release yourself down. Shake out if you need to. We're going to do side two, which might be different than side one, right? Take a moment to root yourself. We turn 90 degrees, and we want to try to maintain the 90 degrees in the knee when we get into the pose here, by the way. Finding that first position so we have that little bit of connection to the earth. Otherwise, we slide the foot up so it's below the knee joint. And we can pick up the foot to come above. And you might get to a different place on each side, right? We can send our branches up. Find our breath. Find our dristi. That's your focal point. Big breath, slow exhale here. So balance is one of the first things that we lose as we age. It's good to practice balance daily, even just standing on one leg. And then be grateful that we're able to maintain our balance as we age gracefully. One more breath here. Slow exhale. Good, let's release back down. Shake out if you need to shake out. Find the top of your mat if you're not there still. And just check in. Let's sweep the arms up. Interlace fingers, option to do Kali Mudra with the index finger up. Create some space. Press your left foot down and tip to the right. So really stretching through the side. The head's just framed between the arms. You can also have your hands on hips if that's uncomfortable for your shoulders. Inhale, let's come back up. Press the right foot down, tip to your left. Breathe into that space. Good, come back up to center. Let's release the arms. Let's make fists and bring them to our low back, just kind of where our pant line is. Inhale, grow taller, brace. Try not to push with those hands. They're just resting here. We're gonna open up. So standing camel. So we wanna make sure again that we're not pushing the hips forward. We're lengthening and organically opening up. So with each exhale, maybe we can get a little deeper into it. Press your toes down, press your heels down. Maintain that rooted feeling. Just let the head come back wherever feels good to you. Squeeze your thighs. Good. Come back up to center. Let's sweep those arms up, bring palms together, find our chair. Exhale, let's fold. Now, because of my technical difficulties, I think we started at 5 after 11, so we are going to go to 5 after 12. So if you need to bail, that's okay. It'll be recorded in here for you to come back to anytime you need to. Let's soften knees, walk out to down dog. Spread our fingers, let's shift forward to plank, knees or toes. We're going to lower all the way down. Now I'm going to give you some options here. So you can just stay in a back bend such as Sphinx or one of our cobras, but we're going to come to half bow with the option to come to full bow. So in half bow, I like to ground myself with one forearm and I reach for the other leg. I like to find the inside of the leg. It feels better on my shoulder. And I just gently start to draw that leg in. And then I can lower down if I like. I can send the arm out and start to lift that leg off the floor. So you're going to start to feel a stretch in the front of that leg. Now, if you don't like where your arm is, you can hold on to the outside of your ankle. You might find you get more room. You can hold on to the big toe. Just try not to have a death grip on your foot, just because of all the nerve endings we have here. Good. You can also do this with a strap to make it more accessible. Let's release that down. Let's change sides. So I like to prop myself up until I can find that foot. And then I start to lower down so I can lengthen the back as I lift and I send the arm out to counterbalance a bit. So listen to your body. We're all different. I do have issues with my low back, so I'm very careful how I get into and out of this pose. I very much listen to how my back feels while I'm in it. And of course, if it's really cranky, you can always come out and come to resting pose. For now, let's come out. Let's come onto our elbows and just rest our chin, bend the knees, and reverse windshield wipe, just to release the back a little bit. So I'm going to give you the option to do that again, or to come to a full bow, which is both legs at the same time. So yogi's choice. Again, you listen to your body. You can always come to just Sphinx or Cobra. It's all back bending. Okay. So if we're doing one side, let's set it up. If we're coming into both sides, let's set up. So we find one side first and we stay there, or we start to find the other side. We find some length and then we open up and lift. Breathe. So just gazing forward, finding a few breaths here. Know that we can come out and maybe come back into this. So if we're doing one side only, lower down and make your way to the other side. Otherwise, maybe we open up a bit more in our bow, or we come out completely. Yogi's choice. letting the breath flow. Good, one more breath wherever we are. And then we're all gonna lower down, push back to resting or puppy dog pose. Take a few breaths there before we flip over onto our back. Good, making your way to lying on your back. So however you get there, knees bent, upper body on the floor so we can gently roll ourselves back. Maybe we take the knees with us and hug them in right away. Maybe we just stay in constructive rest, windshield wiping if that's feeling good to us today. Good job. Making our way to bridge. So feet about hip distance, making sure our joints are stacked. So that's about if you can touch or get close to your heels. Don't sweat it. You just want to make sure that you're stable and safe. Palms down. Let's take a nice big inhale here and exhale, push against the floor. Let's lift. And sometimes we get up and we're like, yeah, I'm not real happy with where my feet are. So you can come down and adjust, or you can adjust while you're up if that's comfortable to you. Spread your toes. Think about all four corners of your feet and exhale, press and open up a little bit more if you can. And maybe even squeeze those glutes to lift. So we're stretching the whole front of our body as we engage the posterior chain here. Maybe we interlace our hands and shimmy to the back edges of our corners, or back edges of our shoulders, creating just a little more space perhaps. Rolling chest towards chin. Use an exhale, maybe lift just a little bit more if we can. Create that space. And then gently lower yourself down. Find your right knee, give it a hug. Send your left leg out long. Flex the left foot. Good. Holding on to your right knee. Send the right hand out so we still hold on with the left hand, and then just exhale. Oh, and draw your knee across the body. Something happened to my words there for a moment. And we can continue to gaze forward, or we can look to the right hand. Breathe into that twist. So try not to hold the breath. We have a tendency when we bend and twist to hold the breath because it can be uncomfortable, and we're squishing that place where we breathe, right? So try to keep it flowing. Come back to the center and change sides. So the right leg goes out, left leg comes in. Pause for a moment, flex that foot. We're just taking pressure off the hip flexor here. You might get a little stretch through the glute or low back. And then taking the left arm out, drawing the knee across to the right side, finding a twist on this side. And you can just have that leg suspended, kind of like mine is. You can have the toes touching the floor. You can also put a block or a pillow or something there to rest your foot or knee on. And you can turn the head, of course, if that's comfortable to you. Let's take one more breath here. And then make our way back to the center. Hug both knees in. Maybe a little rock or some circles. I like circles. It's like a massage for my back. That's what it makes me do. It makes me go, that's what it makes me do. It makes me go, All right, and then keeping the knees hugged in. So pretending like the arms are still there. Open up both arms. Drop your knees to one side. Doesn't matter which. And we can stack. Just have to move my singing bowl out of the way. Stack the knees. And again, we can look the opposite direction. Breathe here. If we like, we can draw that top knee up a little bit to deepen the stretch, maybe in the glute or in the back. Wringing ourselves out. So preparing perhaps for a Thanksgiving meal, or maybe just having had one. I made sangria cranberry sauce. If you guys want the recipe, let me know. It was super awesome. Let's come back to center. Just double checking our hips are square, maybe a little bit of a rock. And then let the knees come to the other side. And we can turn the head. Breathe. Remember, you can have your knees resting on a block or a pillow. You have your feet stacked on the floor. You can take that top leg and maybe draw it up a little bit, get a little more release in the back or through the glute. One more breath. And then come back to center. Let's hug those knees in. And again, rock or make some circles. Feel free to go, Good, let's place our feet on the floor. Let the knees open up, coming to reclined butterfly. And if we like, we can stretch the arms overhead, kind of like we're unfurling ourselves to open up. If that's uncomfortable, you can just keep your arms down or wherever else you like. And play with foot positioning. So maybe you didn't like where they were. Maybe you send them out a little bit. Maybe you bring them in a little bit more. Take a nice big inhale and try to release the glutes and the inner thighs. And if that's really uncomfortable, if we're very tight, we can have blocks or pillows underneath our knees here to support us. Let the breath flow. So as we inhale, start to let the diaphragm push down so the belly rises to create room for the lungs to expand. And as you start to get that rhythm of your breath, start to notice your rib cage. So when you breathe a deep breath, as much as you should feel your belly rise, you should feel the ribs come out and back in again, kind of like an accordion. And you can even, if you want to experience it, place your hands on your rib cage and inhale. Feel them open up, and then exhale, come back in again. So if it's uncomfortable maintaining this butterfly position, feel free to bend the knees. And at this point, you can even extend the legs out if you want and bring the arms down by your side. So make this your own. We're going to spend a few moments here just breathing. So checking in with that breath. Inhaling through nose, exhaling through nose or mouth. And for the first couple of breaths with each exhale, sink into the floor and see where you can maybe let go. Feel free to close your eyes if that feels good to you today. If you happen to look at the screen, I am going to sit up just because it's probably easier for you to hear my voice. And then once you've settled, once you've found all those places you need to let go, you can continue to work on those. Or you can start maybe to count your breath to focus your mind. Inhale for 4. Pause for 2 at the top of that breath, and then exhale for 6, or any other numbers that you like. 4 and 6 just give us a nice reference point. It's typically how long most of us can maintain a breath. And as we count to 6, let the jaw soften, the forehead soften. Feel space in your heart center. Notice your fingers and toes, let them relax. Being aware of the earth beneath you and where your body is touching it. Being aware of the space and energy surrounding you. Know that you are made up of energy. It flows within you and around you and in all things. And with gratitude, we can keep that energy positive so that our positive vibes not only impact us, but others around us, maybe even touch other parts of the world. Let's finish out another breath or two here. Lengthening the exhale. And whenever you're ready, just coming back to a regular breath, whatever that is to you in this moment, not thinking about it. As we start to wiggle fingers and toes, maybe wrinkle the nose, move the jaw around. We can even turn the head side to side. Maybe hugging our knees into our chest, or if we're in constructive rest, windshield wiping, any movement that feels good to us. Rocking is soothing to our body. And taking our time, being as gentle as we can with ourselves, being mindful of our back in particular, but other joints that might be cranky, and make our way up to a seated position. And when we get there, taking a moment to ground ourselves, to get as tall as we can, to maintain that space and that energy flow, and to find our Padme or lotus flower mudra where we started. So that's with the pinky fingers and the thumbs touching and the rest pulled out, making the shape of a flower. And the lotus flower grows in swampy areas, and it comes from the mud beneath. And it pushes its way through the mud, through that swampy water from the depths. And it makes its way and breaks the surface and shines and comes up through the sunlight. Let's lift our lotus flowers. If we're growing, we're reaching up to the sunlight, we're grabbing that energy, and we're shining bright. Feel free to imagine a color for your lotus flower. My go-to is purple. Purple is the color of one of our chakras. I find it a strong, powerful color, and it's pretty. And just take a moment here to acknowledge your strength, your unconditional love, and the gratitude you have for not just the big things in your life, but the little, tiny, small things that really do matter. Let's bring our lotus back down to our heart center. Release it to Anjali Mudra, our palms together. And let's take a moment to feel gratitude for what we've done for ourselves today, our ability to do it, and this time spent together. I wish each of you, if you're doing it live with me, a happy Thanksgiving, a happy life, and a joyous, grateful one. Stay safe, take care of each other. The light in me shines the light in each of you. I love you all. Namaste. Thank you so much for sharing this practice with me today. If you jumped in live, as you know, it will be recorded, just like my Canada Day yoga, and it will be here for you to access anytime you like. I appreciate any feedback or comments that you have. You can email me, you can reach out on Facebook. I will be planning some classes for November soon, so if you have any requests, please let me know, because I base my class schedule on what you guys want or what I think you want anyway. And just take care of each other. Know that you are loved, and we have so much to be grateful for. Thank you.